The stage is set, an all-star beginning on Fox. They are the stars behind the wheel. Hot rods and hot heads, cool customers and cold-hearted drivers with nothing to lose and cash and ego to gain. They're setting the tone at Daytona. It's the Budweiser Shootout.
It's time to start our engines because NASCAR on Fox is back.
They came here for action, and they are not going to be denied.
There's a storm brewing, boys. I hear thunder. I'm loaded, cocked, locked, ready to rock. This is going to be a fun year, guys.
Won it 3 times to try for a 4th.
Running down a dream. Whoop, whoop.
I won it last year.
Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Yes, sir.
Just might do it again.
All right. Strap down this big TV. He's going to go for a ride. Well, boys, let's just sit back and see what happens.
The Bud Shootout. And it all starts tonight, only on NASCAR on Fox.
The first race of 2009 is here as Fox Sports presents the Budweiser Shootout from the famed Daytona International Speedway at the intersection of heroes and zeros, and we're ready to watch the fast and the furious go at it. Some of the names: Dale Earnhardt Jr., some of the new guys, 18-year-old Joey Logano, plus Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, all going 75 laps of wild racing. It's a shootout. You have the best seat in the house, and we're hoping you have a good time with us. The 9th year of the Emmy Award-winning NASCAR on Fox as we welcome you inside our Hollywood hotel, along with champion crew chief Jeff Hamlin, Chris Myers, Darrell Waltrip, and the gang along in a moment. This is where all the beautiful people hang out. I'll explain that later. But we're ready to go tonight. And how about an off-season of limited testing and practice makes tonight's race even more important?
I think it does, Chris. I think tonight, this is an all-star race. I mean, you think about the fact that no other sport starts their year off with an all-star race. Well, tonight we're going to have a wild one, but it's a very important one. We're going to learn a lot that's going to help these guys for the 500.
25 laps, then a 10-minute break, 50 laps. What about the strategy?
I think the first 25 laps, you just want to ride in there, get it settled in, figure out what your car is going to need, take that 10-minute break, make those adjustments, and the final 50 laps, that's where the money's going to be won, and there may wind up being a pit stop necessary to be able to complete it.
All right, so the new format, Ford, Toyota, Chevy, Dodge. We have some wild card drivers, Tony Stewart, Scott Speed in. It's the biggest field in the 31-year history of this event, so it should guarantee a memorable night. Well, there's a lot to look forward to this season. Jimmy Johnson going for an unprecedented 4th straight championship. Dale Earnhardt Jr. more comfortable in his 2nd year with Hendrick Motorsports. And Carl Edwards coming off a 9-win year, and he got married. But there was also some separation and change. More than half of tonight's field has undergone some type of facelift. First up, Tony Stewart. He's out of the comfy 20 after 10 years and into what could be a bumpy 14. Coming over with him is Ryan Newman, who bolts the 12 for the 39. Veteran Mark Martin returns to a full-time Cup schedule with Hendrick in the 5 as he replaces Casey Mears, who moves up 2 spots to the 07, whose former driver Clint Boyer moves to RCR's new 33 ride. Reed Sorensen goes into the historic 43 car. As for rookies, 18-year-old Joey Logano jumps right into the friendly confines of the Home Depot 20 car, while open-wheeler Scott Speed tries to navigate Cup cars in the Red Bull 82. It's a cool Florida night here in Daytona. The Budweiser Shootout on the way. Let's go trackside.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats as the Daytona Beach Police Department Honor Guard presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Reverend L. Ronald Durham of the Greater Friendship Missionary Baptist Church in Daytona Beach offers tonight's invocation.
Lord, allow each driver to run this race with patience. Bless each car and crew.
So I'll just
be the sight on the track before them. Bless them when the road seems long. Keep them through every bend in the road. Make their judgment as sound as steel as they move into position, and be their hands upon the wheel as they pass to the left or to the right. Be their strength in every turn, and make them mindful with each mile how much this means to you this day. Amen, and Godspeed.
Race fans, please welcome Katina Mack of Sanford, Florida, as she performs our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see what so proudly we hailed, lights last gleaming whose broad stripes and through the perilous fight, the we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, their bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Let's hear it for Katina Mack for her performance
The
of our
Daytona
national
500 a week from tonight. Tonight we'll get a clue about what to expect. 28 drivers: Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Carl Edwards. The economy, I know, has hit many hard across the country, but kick back, relax. You're going to enjoy a couple of hours of fast fun. It's NASCAR on Fox.
Junior Nation, the first time out in this car. This is going to be a tight one.
Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Yes, sir. I'm so happy. I don't get no better.
Yeah, we welcome you back to Daytona. NASCAR on Fox getting ready for the Budweiser Shootout. 75 laps. Dale Earnhardt Jr., who won the race last year, a splash with Hendrick Motorsports, settling in. Now, he still thinks he's the guy to beat tonight. What do you think?
Well, I think he's got an excellent chance of repeating, but there's a lot of guys I think that have an opportunity to knock him off, including one of his teammates, Jeff Gordon. He looked really good yesterday, as well as Jimmy Johnson, and don't underestimate Tony Stewart.
All right, Jeff Gordon starting back of the pack and only one win for the entire year. So Dale Earnhardt Jr. hoping to accomplish a lot more. You know, Joey Logano, who's stepping into the ride for Tony Stewart, the 18-year-old, admittedly, hey, Daytona, I'm trying to find my way here. Some nerves for him tonight with the All-Star.
Oh, they're basically throwing him to the lines. I'm telling you right now, he has definitely got his hands full here tonight. This is going to be baptism under fire because he's never seen a place like Daytona. It changes a lot, and these guys are really going to be vicious as far as when they get after him. They're not going to put up with this young man giving him a problem. I mean, even during yesterday's practice, you can see how treacherous this racetrack is, but this is what he could expect tonight. This racetrack is going to be doing it to him all night long, jumping around. Car's going to get loose, it's going to get tight, and all of a sudden you're going to have guys out there that are racing for the win, and they're not going to put up with him getting in front of them and slowing him down. I can promise you that.
All right, and still a drafting partner, very important, even though this is just 75 laps.
Yeah, you got to have a drafting partner, but as you saw in that episode right there, his car is not stable enough, Chris, I think, to get the job done, so he is going to probably be looking for drafting partners instead of somebody wanting to draft with him.
All right, and the pole sitter, by the luck of the draw, is Paul Menard, who had a tire problem in practice, had a wreck. Certainly his effect in this race. What can we expect?
Well, I think they made really good repairs, at least on this 98 as well as 82. Talked to both of the crews, and they were really happy they were able to get the cars repaired. Paul gets to start on the pole, as well as Scott Speed. He's starting up front also. He winds up starting in fourth position. So they really feel like they've got the cars where they need to be, but both these guys have got to be careful. Otherwise, they could wind up doing this again early on.
What should we know about Scott Speed other than he has a channel named after him?
That's about it right now. I mean, he's definitely another one of those guys who's got his hands full, and these drivers are not going to put up with somebody that doesn't get out of their way tonight.
And Carl Edwards, a risk taker. We've got Jimmy Johnson here, guys that kind of want to set the tone as they get ready for the
It's
500.
the first race of the year, and everybody wants to win, Chris. There's no friends out there, I can promise you that.
All right, you need somebody to dance with, but at the finish line, it's every man for himself. So let's head trackside, and we're back for a long year of racing on Fox.
And now, race fans, it's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Here to give the command, please welcome your Grand Marshal, country music sensation, Dierks Bentley.
Gentlemen, start your engines! Yeah!
The drivers, the crew chiefs, I hope their racing teams are in concert. The Budweiser Shootout locked and ready to go. It's NASCAR on Fox. Thursday night, the drivers from tonight's field in the Budweiser Shootout took turns pulling a number from a Budweiser bottle to determine their position in the starting order for the race you're about to watch tonight. And Paul Menard was the lucky recipient of this year's Budweiser Shootout pole position. Back at the Hollywood Hotel, Darrell Waltrip, Larry McReynolds, Mike Joy, and our cast of pit reporters ready to rock and roll. And Mike, as we welcome the guys in, you know, I am honored that they had the most beautiful people in NASCAR, the 60 most beautiful people. Chris Devoda headed the list. We have Jeff Hammond, who was 43rd, slightly ahead here of our own DW. And I was upset that Slugger Labby didn't make it. But congratulations, because you are truly a beautiful Darrell. But he was bragging about how he finished just a few notches ahead of you.
I said, all season. He paid more than I did.
Hey, but you know what? I was impressed. He's right there, right next to the page of that 18-year-old Joey Logano, so that's pretty impressive.
I'm just glad. It's like my whole career. I'm just glad I'm in there somewhere.
Yeah. I thought it was the most 60 beautiful people at Fox. And Mike, you and I weren't even on the radar here. I mean, this is upsetting.
Chris, I heard you were 61 with an asterisk.
But we look forward to a long and enjoyable season, whoever's beautiful or not. We're ready to go racing. Good to have you guys back for another season here on Fox.
I love the Christmas season. I love the winter. I love it when it's over and it's time to go racing again. And it all starts with the Budweiser Shootout. Darrell, you won it in '81 when it was a 20-lap sprint. Now it's going to be running 2 segments. What do you want to find out in those first 25 laps?
Well, I got to get the rust off, man. You know, I've been laid up all winter long, and all of a sudden you're going to throw me out there in a 190-mile-an-hour cat fight, you know, with all these guys. I got to figure out who I can trust. Is there anybody in this deal that wants to work with me, or is everybody out here going to work against me? That's what I'm going to find out in this first 20 laps.
Well, then we get a 10-minute break, Larry. What do you want to do to that race car and not overdo?
Well, the good news is we'll come to pit road, we won't lose any positions. And unlike most of the pit stops we make over the course of the season, we can talk about it. We can think about it. But you know what? This is a short race, and this may be the only opportunity we get to make that car right. But we've got to make sure, and this goes especially for a lot of those new driver and crew chief combinations, not to over-adjust our race car for twice the number of laps that we just run.
All right, 50 laps to go, Darrell. What are you worried about?
Well, the biggest thing is fuel. Can I make it on fuel? Because 50 laps is right in that window with no cautions. Tires, tire wear could be real critical. So I'm going to tell my crew to set me up so that I'm pretty good with that final 10 laps, and hopefully I'm up front where I can make a move to win this thing. That's what I'm going to be trying to do. Position, position, position.
This is a shootout, so we're going to show you the Budweiser starting grid short track style, back to front. Out back might not be a bad place to start. That's where Kevin Harvick and Jeff Gordon are going to hang out. Row 14, the biggest field ever for the Budweiser Shootout. Greg Biffle, Matt Kenseth, and Fords just in front of them. A lot of veterans in those last few rows. Casey Mears with a new team and his new teammate, Jeff Burton.
Jeff Burton had engine failure. He'll have to go to the rear of the field because of changing the engine.
David Rudiman alongside champion Jimmy Johnson.
Rudiman, the pole winner from Homestead there at the last race of the year.
Stremme and Logano, Allmendinger, and Michael Waltrip.
And Joey Logano will have to drop to the rear of the field because he missed the driver's meeting because he was still competing in the ARCA race.
Row 7, Casey Kane, Robbie Gordon, Kurt Busch, Carl Edwards.
Second place finisher in the 500 last year, Kurt Busch. Guy that almost won it, Kyle Busch.
The guy who did, Dale Jr. Bobby Labonte, Brian Vickers up in the 4th row.
Hey, Bobby Labonte's running pretty good.
Tony Stewart and his former teammate, Denny Hamlin, row 3. Scott Speed, a rookie, and Reed Sorensen in row 2. Elliott Sadler and Paul Menard start on the front row. Longest distance ever for the Budweiser Shootout and the biggest field ever, 28 starters.
That's what I'm talking about. I mean, we've used it in practice, so it's time to come to our pit, Kurt, on your radio.
Darrell?
Let's see if we can get Jeff Gordon. Jeff Gordon, DW here in the Fox Sports booth. Buddy, you got a copy? Jeff Gordon, DW here. You got a copy, buddy?
All right, we'll double check things as Gordon will come from the back of the field. The winner of this race in 94 and 97, starting shotgun on the field. Here's the format: 25 laps, 10-minute pit stop, 50 laps to finish it off. And the field used to be set by pole winners, a whole new format this year. Top 6 in owner points of each manufacturer and a wild card driver from each of the 4 participating manufacturers in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Let's go downstairs and get some late breaking stories, beginning with Steve Burns.
Well, Mike, Dale Earnhardt Jr. won this race a year ago, his second win in the shootout. In the off-season, he did some hunting, he went snowmobiling with some family, and he shot 6 commercials in January alone. He said this week, man, it is just time to get back in that race car, and he'll do it tonight, Matt Yoakum.
Steve, coming into Speedweeks for Jimmy Johnson, the biggest question centered around a deep tissue and tendon injury to a finger on his left hand. He went so far as the manufacturer of brace to wear under his glove to help him grab a hold of the wheel, but he told me through all the practice sessions, no issues. As far as the car, excellent. In fact, at the break, they're working on a little game plan, a little bit of a test for next Sunday night's Daytona 500. Chris Devoda?
Well, Kyle Busch doesn't weigh much more than I do, but tonight he is a linebacker. He will be blitzing for 75 laps. You see, when points are on the line, he goes for wins. When points are not on the line, winning is truly all that matters. His team told me it does not matter if this car comes back in one piece or at all. They said tonight Kyle Busch is not a race car driver. Dick Berggren, he is a bull rider.
Indeed he is, and Carl Edwards was the winningest driver last year in Sprint Cup competition, and tonight he aims to pick up right where he left off. He's got a strong car, finished second with it here last July. As for his strategy tonight, he said, strategy, just go for it.
At least one more pace lap and they'll turn them loose for the first of 25. Caution laps do count, and standard NASCAR finish of the race rules apply. That is, one attempt at a green-white checker if necessary, and restarts. Again, shootout, short track style. They'll line them up double file, 1, 2, 3, 4 in the second row, and so forth.
I like that. You know, Mike, this race tonight really is all or nothing. It's a gambler's race. You know, when the team says, oh, we're not going to run this car next week, don't worry about it. I always worry about it because I'm in it.
Aerial coverage tonight brought to you by DirecTV. Now get over 130 of your favorite channels in high definition.
Yeah, I mean, next week in the Daytona 500, if a man finishes in the top 5, he's going to be pretty happy in the big picture because he's going to get a lot of Sprint Cup Series points. Tonight, I will guarantee you, we interview the driver that finishes second, he will not be a happy camper.
It hit about 70 degrees here in Daytona today. Now it's cooled down to 55. Nice racing weather, a little bit of a breeze from out of the southeast.
That's good. It is good racing weather. The engines will make good power with that kind of ambient temperature. The track's going to have good grip in it. Tire wear shouldn't be a problem. It should make for some good 3-wide racing. I think that's what we're going to see all night.
A number of new faces in this race, a lot of new colors. Team, sponsor, and manufacturer changes. We'll keep you up with those, and we'll have a full rundown on all of the drivers attempting to make the Daytona 500 when we bring you pole qualifying tomorrow afternoon here on Fox.
And guys, trust me, heart rates are way up right now because there's a lot of unknowns here. A lot of unknowns about people in the race, what your car's going to do, a lot of unknowns.
1979, Busch Beer executive Monty Roberts created the Busch Clash, an opening race for pole winners. 9 drivers qualified for the first Busch Clash. It was a 20-lap sprint. Buddy Baker won $50,000, and there were 3 manufacturers represented. All the General Motors drivers ran Oldsmobiles, along with a Ford and a Mercury. Today, $200,000 to the winner from a purse of $1.2 million. And look who's back.
Wait till they come by next time, Digger.
Lights are out atop the pace car. You know what that means. Green flag this time by. Paul Menard, despite a practice crash yesterday, that car has been repaired. He keeps his pole draw spot and is ready to go from the front row on the inside of Elliott Sadler.
Well, Darrell, for the first time in 2009, but for our 9th consecutive year of NASCAR on Fox, reach up there and pull those belts tight one more time, Saturday night style.
That's why my voice goes way up. I've got them belts tight, baby. Boogity, boogity, boogity! Let's go racing, boys!
In tow. First 3 single file. Then Junior on the outside.
Looks like Dale Earnhardt Jr. in that high lane is getting really a good push from Bobby Labonte in that 96 car. And we've seen that a lot here lately, that 2 cars on the outside, the way the draft works, you can really get a good run even with a lot of cars lined up on the bottom.
I tell you, Bobby Labonte's car was really fast in practice. He had one of the fastest practice speeds of anybody.
Kevin Harvick started in the back row. He's passed 6 cars on the way to the front.
I'll be kind of interested to see how Jeff Gordon fares from back there in 28 starting spot, what his strategy will be.
Harvick in the 29, Jeff Burton, his teammate, pulls alongside.
And we mentioned Jeff Burton had to drop to the rear of the field because of the NASCAR rule of changing engines with the problems they had. This is the first laps he's made with this engine in this 31 car.
One of the things we're going to have to watch for, Mike, Larry, you know this, is tape on the grill. Sometimes these guys will get real aggressive with that, and sometimes they overdo it and the things will start running hot.
190 miles an hour. The Eau Claire, Wisconsin driver Paul Menard racing a Ford in 2009 for Yates Racing. Out in front of the Budweiser Shootout field, Reed Sorensen being challenged by Denny Hamlin in the 11 on the outside.
Now Hamlin looks like he's going to drop down behind Paul Menard.
Not for long.
In that 98 car. Now he jumps back to the high side.
Yeah, not for long.
Hamlin and Sadler on the high side, and they're going right to the front past Menard.
Yeah,
look how much faster they are.
Well, they ganged up on Menard. I mean, Hamlin and those guys got hooked up on the outside, and Menard was a setting duck.
Now Brian Vickers in the 83 inside of Sadler, but the 2006 winner of this race, Denny Hamlin, pulls out in front.
Of course, this first 20 laps doesn't really mean anything, you know. It's just to get to that break so you can mainly catch your breath.
But how about Dale Earnhardt Jr. in that 88 car going for the lead? He's right beside Denny Hamlin at 11 onto the backstretch. And I think the fans will let you know who's fighting for the lead. Boy, Kurt Busch in that 2 car was sideways. Casey Kane got into the back of him.
Man,
Sadler jumps down behind
You're
Junior.
all clear, all clear.
Won't hear that very often. All clear.
Junior went to the front.
We got trouble. David Reagan in the 6, Joey Logano in the 20.
And Robbie Gordon. Scott Speed, the 82, and Greg Biffle are in it.
Caution out. Well, that didn't take long.
Logano had just come from finishing second in the ARCA 200 this afternoon. That's why he missed the drivers' meeting. They had a red flag in the ARCA race, and he was waiting for the race to finish out in his car on track. So he missed the meeting, had to start last, and he gets caught up in the first incident of the night along with Scott Speed and the 16 of Greg Biffle. Watch
Speed.
Logano in the 20 on the right underneath Jeff Gordon.
That actually starts, I think, a little further up here.
It does.
Robbie Gordon in the 7 gets into the back of David Reagan in the 6, and it's the accordion effect from there. And Joey Logano in the 20 just gets clipped as Scott Speed, the 82, comes off the banking.
Second wreck at Scott Speed's
Jeff Gordon
been in.
He was in
Scott was in a wreck last night here, very similar.
Watch the 24 of Gordon up high as this unfolds, snaking his way through it.
Boy, look at that.
Unbelievable.
Jeff did an incredible job. I mean, that was, but to dodge those cars and weave his way through there like that at speed. Digger says, man, y'all woke me up
in my hole.
Y'all woke me up early.
Looking back from Jimmy Johnson as David Reagan tries to whoa up and gets tagged. Now let's ride with Joey Logano, the rookie.
Oh. Almost made it by.
First caution flag of the night in the Budweiser Shootout on Fox. The Budweiser Shootout on Fox is sponsored by Budweiser. Reach for the perfect balance of flavor and refreshment. Budweiser, the great American lager. One multi-car caution already tonight. It's a shootout, short track style, and when the full moon is out on Saturday night at the local short track, what tends to happen?
Well, you know what? A February full moon is sometimes referred to as a storm moon.
Usually full moon Saturday night at the racetrack means lots of crashing.
Weird things.
Let's go back and have a look, and look in front of David Reagan's number 6 and see the bunch up here that starts right about there.
Yeah, you can actually see the 18 kind of drop down and a bunch of cars get kind of slowed up. I think that's probably what caused that whole thing to happen there. It just accordion back to the 6 car of David Reagan.
Yeah, Matt Kenseth in the 17 really checked up, and you saw Kevin Harvick in the 29 jump to the high side of him.
And let me tell you, when this car turns and goes up the hill like that right there at 180 some probably miles an hour, thank goodness for those safer barriers.
You know, there were actually several other cars that sustained some slight damage. I know Casey Mears in the 07 car, he's been to pit road a couple of times. I think Jamie McMurray,
yeah, McMurray had a little
in the 26 had a little damage.
He got scraped down the right side, I believe, as he went by.
Of the 6 drivers involved in the incident, 4 of them are competing in their first Budweiser Shootout. Watch Jeff Gordon in the 24, just coming into view in the right side of your screen as this begins to unfold. Watch how a multi-time champion snakes his way through.
Watch
Here he
him
comes.
just right through that opening right there.
Missed that one.
Around this car, Scott Speed.
Missed that one.
Here's Logano.
Missed that
Just
one.
snaked his way right through there.
And you know what? I bet he never touched the brakes. You drive. That's what you have to learn to do, and that's what an experienced driver does. He doesn't touch the brakes. He drives through it.
Dick Bergman.
Jeff Gordon keyed the radio and told the crew that was one time he wishes he had an in-car camera so he could play it over again and take a look at what happened from the driver's seat.
We did it for him, Doc.
Yeah, you did indeed. Well, he did pit narrow, and he picked up 4 tires just to make sure nothing happened to the 4 tires that were on the car. We are coming to the green. Yeah, Mike, Paul Menard, Jeff Burton, Casey Mears, Jeff Gordon, and Greg Biffle all elected to come to pit road and put 4 fresh tires on there.
So in the garage, Scott Speed, David Reagan, Robbie Gordon, and Joey Logano as we get ready to restart. There will be 8 laps complete. After 25 laps, they'll waive the caution and they'll have a 10-minute break.
I love these kind of restarts right here, guys. This is the way restarts ought to be.
Double foul.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. leads them down to the green flag with Elliott Sadler alongside.
What is it about an Earnhardt and a Bud shootout? They just it just fits their style, you know. Dale was always so great in this race because it was a shootout and it was a short race, but he could get it done. It looks like Junior's going to follow in the footsteps.
Dale Jr. has won this race twice, including last year. You look at him just in front of Bobby Labonte.
And his dad, Dale Earnhardt Sr., won it 6 times.
More than anyone else.
Well, it's a pretty sight, isn't it? Look at those cars coming off of turn 4.
Beautiful.
All
sight.
bunched up, 3 wide in some places.
This track is plenty wide enough for 3 wide. In fact, it's wide enough for 4 wide, but I think we have to remember almost over 190 miles per hour bouncing around the whole time.
Yeah, you just don't have any margin for error. I mean, you look at Matt Kenseth right there. He's wobbling all over the place, and Tony's on the outside of him. Got the 44 down on the inside. Man, there's not a lot of room for error here.
Here comes Harvick on the outside in 29. A little bump from Edwards to his teammate Kenseth in the 17.
And look how it lunged that 17 ahead.
And hear them. See, the beautiful thing about this package, this restrictor plate package, is hear them play with the throttle. You couldn't do that before. If you let off the gas, you get run over. Now you got some throttle response.
Carl Edwards in the 99, he just slid right up in front of Kevin Harvick in that 29 coming onto the front stretch here, 3 wide by about 5 rows going off into 1. Look at that.
That's amazing. Boy, I tell you what, and it's just somebody, I see somebody in there, it looked like maybe the 80, I think it was one of the Red Bull cars, looked like he was really having a hard time, the 83 car, keeping it
Tony
down.
Stewart has just found his favorite drafting partner at Daytona, Dale Jr. They're hooked up nose to tail as we go down to the care center and Krista.
Mike, we're in the garage right now. You're talking about the one Red Bull car, where the other one not looking so pretty here in the garage. Scott Speed, not to make light of the matter, but we joked yesterday that you got your first Daytona wreck out of the way. Now you're second.
Well, I have to clarify. Yesterday, I thought we had changed the front clip. Now it's just lost in translation. That's part of the whole little kind of NASCAR terms I don't got. Because all that damage, that's still not the front clip, evidently. I'm learning that today. Hey, I'm all right. I gotta say I learned a little bit, and yeah, look forward to obviously the 500.
Well, Scott Speed in his first Bud Shootout able to find somewhat of a Red Bull silver lining in the whole deal.
Let's go back a lap and have a look at Bobby Labonte from above, who had a bit of a close call, and that's what's dropped him back from the second row. That's his white car in the middle of the screen on the lower right.
You seem to just get sucked around right there. Is that who was that? Harvick went by on the outside there, kind of pulled him around, had to get out of the throttle, backed them up.
Well, Darrell, I think it was the worst case scenario. He was on the inside of Harvick in the 29, and he had Vickers in the 83 tucked up behind him, and just takes downforce off the rear of that car.
And buddy, man, the 17 is pushing up the hill right into, almost into Ruderman into 00. These cars look a little ill to me. They don't look like they're driving all that great.
We're about halfway through this first segment. There'll be 13 laps down when they come back around, 12 to go until we get that 10-minute break.
And Larry, the key, it's the car is not driving good. The driver's not. There's a lot of things these cars do the driver doesn't really have much control over.
The car's controlling him.
Sometimes you're just a passenger.
Oh, Vickers got into Kevin Harvick, and Harvick's number 29 got up and into the wall.
Yeah, Harvick's got a pretty good bit of damage down the right side of his car now. Ooh, there went something flying over the top of some of the car there.
But guys, I don't think we can say enough about the guy leading this race right now. Tony Stewart, that 14 car, spent 10 years driving for Joe Gibbs, goes out, helps form Stewart Haas Racing here. He's leading the Budweiser Shootout, the first race for this race team.
Steve.
Mike, his spotter, Bob Jeffrey, doing a great job atop the grandstands here. Tony said at that caution, get me out in front of all this mess. I don't want to be back here. he told crew chief Darian Grubb, car's just a little bit tight on exit. Tony very calm in the cockpit of that 14 car.
There's his teammate Ryan Newman among the onlookers in Stewart's pit. Hard to believe there'd be a Bud Shootout without the Rocket, one of NASCAR's all-time pole winners. But with the new format and with changing teams for 09, Newman's sideline, he'll be one of those drivers trying to win the pole tomorrow for next Sunday's Daytona 500 on Fox.
Mike, I don't think there's any question. Tony Stewart is as loose as I've seen him since he's been in this sport, maybe since he was a rookie. He comes down here normally and he's kind of gnarly and kind of hard to get along with. He has been loose and fun the whole time we've been here already, and this is certainly going to add to the pleasure.
15 of the first 25 lap segment complete this time by Tony Stewart out in front of the Budweiser Shootout on Fox. We have a new leader in the Budweiser Shootout on Fox, sponsored by Sprint. Get NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile only from Sprint, only on the Now Network.
Looks to me like Carl Edwards has picked up right where he left off at the end of last year. wanting to win everything that's out there.
But you know, Darrell, I can't help as I watch Carl Edwards in that 99 car lead this race at a restrictor plate racetrack. The last time we were at a restrictor plate racetrack at Talladega in the fall, he had everybody mad at him, including his teammates, because he caused that big wreck with about 12 laps to go down in 3 and 4.
I'll tell you another guy that we should maybe give a little shout out to, and that's that cat right there in the Valvoline car. He looks to me like Mr. Allmendinger is picking up right where he left off at the end of last year.
He had a strong finish to the season for what was Gillette Evernham Racing.
Good job, bud.
Now Richard Petty Motorsports after a merger, and he's in the 44.
Have you ever seen a paint job quite like that?
I believe I have.
Yes, I believe we have.
Back in the late 70s. Yeah, I mean, you've got A.J. Allmendinger that started 18th. He's running second right now. Remember, Jeff Gordon started dead last. He's up there in the 4th position, and Jimmy Johnson, his teammate in the 48, started 19th.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. led this race and now has dropped back to mid-pack. Matt?
Mike, he moved up to the high side. The biggest complaint from Junior about the 88 car, just way too free on entry. Not a good feeling at this juncture. Looking forward to the break.
You have to set these cars up that way. They got to be so loose on entry so they're not so terribly tight on exit, and it makes it really hard to drive.
And that's going to be even more important in that 50-lap run, because the further you go, the more fuel you burn off, and it just makes the car tighter and tighter, turn less and less.
4 cars in the garage. 1 has lost the draft, but still out there. That's Kevin Harvick, who reported damage to the right side of his car when he got against the wall earlier. Jimmy Johnson now second. Jimmy Johnson, Carl Edwards. The way last season all happened to work out. Krista?
Well, this is an incredible run for A.J. Allmendinger, his very first Bud Shootout, and he is in essence auditioning. Right now, this team slated to run the Bud Shootout plus the first 8 races of the year, along with the Daytona July race. So A.J. Allmendinger trying to do everything he can for a good showing and looking very strong right now in his very first Budweiser Shootout appearance.
You know, I just can't believe how he has improved as a driver. When he first got in these cars, he was lost as an Easter egg, but he has really picked up the talent, and he's really done a good job.
How about these 2 guys at the front, Carl Edwards in that 99 and Jimmy Johnson in the 48? They are having a blast up there at the front.
And as they play cat and mouse, Jamie McMurray comes into the picture in that 26. Whoa. Denny Hamlin almost slid it to the wall.
Boy,
what a save.
That backed a bunch of them up.
That was a big slide for the number 11.
This is what you call push loose. This thing comes off the corner. He's got a lot of wheel in it, and when those front tires dig, that's when you go push, 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 loose.
When you can see the right door numbers from that view, we got trouble on the back straightaway.
David Ruderman and David Stremme on the left going for a spin.
That will bring the caution out as we're coming to lap 23.
This is Stremme, who gets it pointed the right way in the bus stop chicane.
This is about the point in the run where your car just goes, the handling really goes away big time with about 20-25 laps.
Ruderman up top in the 00, Stremme on the bottom, and Hamlin in the middle.
Oh, he got clipped.
And then poor David Stremme in the 12 was just a victim.
11 car got into the 00. Hamlin got into Ruderman and shot him down the hill into the 12 car.
I tell you what, David Stremme got that car turned just in time because he was headed to that inside wall in a hurry.
This is one of those times when you say, where did that come from?
Boy, Stremme took a hard hit.
No, both of those cars did. You can.
South Bend, Indiana's David Stremme has made it back to pit road, as has Ruderman. Caution for the second time tonight in the Budweiser Shootout of 2009. Both cars able to continue.
Car got faster when it got to the grass, I think.
Caution is out for the David Ruderman, David Stremme incident, and this will complete 25 laps. Caution laps do count in the Budweiser Shootout. That means the next time around, pit road will be open, and the teams will come in order and exit in the order in which they enter after having 10 minutes to make repairs. Kevin Harvick and Bobby Labonte have already been in during this caution period.
Yeah, it really wasn't a loss for Kevin Harvick because he was all the way at the back anyhow. But now Bobby Labonte, by pitting that time, he will lose whatever positions that he lost by coming to pit road.
Krista?
Yeah, they were assessing the left front damage. They really thought the problem was going to be the right fender. They got down here on pit road. They knew the left front was much worse than they thought. While he was down here, Kevin said, go ahead and throw on 4 fresh tires. Maybe I can make up some difference. Before he brushed the wall there on lap 13, his car, he said, was a little tight.
So pits will be open this time. 4 cars in the garage. Scott Speed, David Reagan, Robbie Gordon, Joey Logano. Everyone else is still on the lead lap.
But it's good to come down and make that pit stop before halfway. Now they know what they need. If they got to make some repairs to the car, they have everything ready, and in that 10 minutes they'll be able to get her fixed up.
So here is the running order after 25 laps. After the break, they'll run 50 laps to finish this off, and the winner takes home $200,000. Tomorrow, Fox Sports brings you exclusive coverage of Daytona 500 qualifying. We'll find out who will win the front row for the 51st running of the Great American Race. Coverage of Daytona 500 qualifying tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, in high definition and only on Fox.
We had 2 practice sessions for qualifying for tomorrow, and no, Jeff Gordon wasn't fastest. Jimmy Johnson, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Carl Edwards, no. How about awesome Bill Elliott, fastest in both practice sessions, driving that number 21 Wood Brothers car.
I feel like I'm having flashbacks. Bill Elliott's here, Terry Labonte's here, Derek Cope is here, Jeff Bodine is here.
Chris Devota's there.
Carl Edwards is in. They're making the 4 tire change. His car is very good. Remember, they are coming off the end of last season with tons of momentum, winning that season finale. Matt.
The 2005 winner of this event, Jimmy Johnson, in. His complaint early on, the car was tight, but he felt like that was because he was mired back in traffic. He got a little free near the end of that run. Steve?
Well, Matt, Tony Stewart said he wanted to be freer. Too tight on exit. They made a chassis adjustment, a track bar adjustment on that 14 car. Dick.
Well, Jeff Gordon said his car was a bit free at the beginning and that he could handle it. Then it got tight. He didn't like that.
So we're in the halftime break, as it were, although we're just 25 of 75 laps complete in Daytona.
The Budweiser Shootout on Fox is sponsored by the Home Depot, proud sponsor of Joey Logano and the number 20 team. By Aflac, ask about it at work. And by the all-new 09 F-150. It's not just a new truck, it's a new F-150. A quick recap with 25 laps in here at Daytona. 10-minute break and then 50 laps to decide the 2009 Shootout winner. And it started early. David Reagan in the 6 car. The end of the wall. This is on lap 4. 6 cars involved, including Joey Logano, the rookie, and Scott Speed knocked down. Watch Jeff Gordon, the veteran, weave his way through to stay in contention. Carl Edwards moving into the lead, leading 9 laps, the most of the first 25. Of course, winning 9 races last year. And then moments ago, running 20th and 21st, Hamlin gets into the back of Ruderman, and Stremming is involved as well. Under caution, that 25th lap to get us to the break right now. In our recap, 6 leaders, 5 lead changes, a couple of cautions, 6 caution laps. Junior led 7 laps, Tony Stewart 4, and Jimmy Johnson in the 48 currently 3rd. Let's check in with Matt Yoakum.
Chris, Jimmy said that when the car got closer to the front, it really started to get the comfort that he was looking for. But you also mentioned a strange vibration in a certain RPM range. Have you figured out what it is yet?
No, I'm not sure we know what it is yet. You know, we'll take a look at things. There's not much we can do at this point. You know, it's running good, but it gets in that certain power band RPM range, and it starts shaking, and I think it's costing me a little bit of speed. But you know, with that problem, we're still able to drive up there to the top 3, and feel good about, you know, this final 50 laps.
All right, thank you, Jimmy. Krista?
Well, Matt, the first segment belonged to Carl Edwards, so let's find out. Carl, is there anything you're missing? What do you guys need to do in this second segment to keep your car up front?
We just got to keep the Aflac duck, I guess, up there in front of all the vultures back there. You know, I'm doing the best I can to keep it out front, but this thing's going to shake up so much, you know, with the way the draft works. The track conditions are so cool. Everybody will have new tires. I don't know how pit strategy is going to work out, but having fun right now. This has been a really fun race. Great way to start the year off so far.
All right, Steve Burns, nothing foul with the duck down here.
I like that, Krista. Well, Tony, you got this number 14 car out front, but I heard you say a little bit tight on exit. How do you fix that?
We're just probably make a track bar change is what we did there, so see if that's enough, and if it's not, we'll work on a couple other areas.
All right, good luck, Tony. The second half, let's go to Dick.
Jeff Gordon, a lot of work going on underneath the nose of the car. What are they trying to fix?
Well, we've got a really, really awesome race car. Obviously, you know, I can go up the middle, and I don't know what it looks like from TV, but we got our hands full, all of us. Pretty exciting race out here. We're just trying to get a little bit more air to the nose, and you know, try to get a little more front down for us. I was getting a little bit tight there, and I think if we can get a little bit more front down for us, or at least get that front end to stick a little bit better, I think we can win this race.
Wow, and what a drive going through that wreck. He has gone from 28th to 8th.
All right, thanks, Dick. Teams may perform any action that would be part of a normal pit stop during this break. Junior 10th, Stewart 13th. Jeff Hammond with a look at what to expect over the last 50 laps when we continue from Daytona. Welcome back to Daytona. NASCAR on Fox to the Budweiser Shootout. Carl Edwards, your leaders. We get ready for the final 50 laps, and Jimmy Johnson currently third. Let's listen in on lap 23, communication with the 48 team.
The bottom's the place to be, huh? Yeah, at times it does. The middle's not bad. You know, you can get some help off of 2 down the backstretch when everybody's starting to move around. It's interesting out here, to be honest with you.
All right, like guys in the ring kind of bobbing and weaving. They're kind of finding their way, right, feeling each other out. What is that communication?
That's what we talked about in our pre-races, what they're going to do in the first 25 laps. That's trying to figure out what they need to do to their race cars. I think Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon, as well as Jimmy Johnson have all made those little minor adjustments. But what I'm seeing with Carl Edwards and Jamie Murray up at the front, I really believe the 48 to 24, where they got better later on the run, we may be seeing a classic battle between Roush Fenway and the Hendrick cars before it's all said and done. I think these guys have got the best race cars, and the longer we go, which is another 25 extra laps here, is when the cream's going to rise to the top.
So you're saying one of those 4 probably the winner. Nobody laying back here kind of scheming and planning.
Excuse me. Yes, I think there is an opportunity for guys like that. I think that's exactly what Jimmy and Jeff were doing somewhat early on, was trying to feel everybody out and see what everybody had. Same way with the 99. Your car's got to go through a transition period. And Darrell and Larry, you know that as drivers and crew chiefs, cars are going to change, and you got to keep up with those changes and build your car to be best at the end.
Well, Jeff Gordon said it best. Hey, these things are jumping all over the place. We saw that in the in-car cameras. They got their hands full. But what I like is the whole field's chasing a duck.
But now the question we had about the last 50 laps at the top of the night becomes twofold. Can you run 50 laps on 1 tank of fuel, and do you want to run 50 laps on 1 set of tires?
I think it's going to be a chess match with these cars that are out there about coming to pit road, maybe almost splitting this 50 laps down the middle. It may not go exactly 25 and 25, but I would be willing to bet we might see some cars starting to hit pit road, even under green flag conditions around lap 30 to 35 to get those fresh tires. And it'll be one of those deals. Once a few teams start coming, I think the rest will follow suit.
And then comes the art of getting on pit road. If you're just going to grab 2 tires, maybe, and get track position, get ahead of everybody, you can't slide the tires coming in. So that's going to be something. These guys haven't made any green flag stops this year yet, so we got to watch that too.
50 laps to go in the Budweiser Shootout of 2009, 31st running of this race that opens the stock car portion of Speedweeks. We're about to restart the Budweiser Shootout on Fox, sponsored by Budweiser. Reach for the perfect balance of flavor and refreshment. Budweiser, the great American lager. Cars are back on track after the break. Next time they come around, green flag. Let's go pit side. Matt Yoakum.
Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s loose race car was fixed, they hope, with a track bar adjustment. Tony Eury Jr., this is the big money segment, so how much of a strategy chess match are we going to see play out?
You'll see all kind of different deals. I think, you know, we got to get a big group of cars coming out here together. Maybe some guys will kind of stop when their window opens. Some will go till kind of halfway point. I think that's what we'll kind of do is go to about lap 30 in this little deal, and you know, it gives us enough time to get in a line, maybe catch up with the front group wherever they might be, or we might be the group. So you know, everything's going real good for us right now. We're just real happy with the car, just a little bit too free.
All right, thanks, Tony.
Thank you.
The first Budweiser Shootout was the Busch Clash. 9 cars, 20 laps. That's Big Buddy Baker in the Gray Ghost, number 28, leading Darrell Waltrip to the checkered flag. Cale Yarborough finished third as Oldsmobile swept the first 4 finishing positions.
Told Baker I was running hot. I needed to get in. Let me lead a lap or two.
He wasn't buying that.
He wasn't buying it because if I ever get in front of him, he ain't getting back around me.
Aerial coverage tonight provided by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you've got to get DirecTV. Carl Edwards and teammate Jamie McMurray both driving Fords for Roush Fenway Racing. They have the front row as we are ready to restart for 50 laps, 125 miles.
Little Saturday night 50-lap feature.
It's a nice one right here, boys. Sweet right there. This is sweet.
Jamie McMurray in that 26 car. Seen so much confidence in him this week. Has his crew chief back with him that he had a few years ago, Donnie Wingo. Always runs good at Daytona, and he's got a line of cars stacked up behind him.
Boy, and you see, I mean, those cars are wiggling around. Now, that might look kind of like not a big deal at home on TV, but let me tell you, when you're riding in that thing and it's swerving around like that, you'd like to wave to the guy behind you until you quit doing that, but you can't let go of the wheel long enough to do it.
And Edwards gets shot through the middle.
Coming to you here. Watch him. One back.
And out of the lead.
And that was Jamie McMurray's spotter telling him, hey, they're coming to you in a hurry. One car length back, and they got there in a hurry.
And Casey Kane to the front.
Not for long.
Not for long.
McMurray second, and here comes Kyle Busch in the 18.
Wow thing.
Got a pretty good push from the 48 and the number 2 car. All on the bottom. Right now on new tires, that bottom should prevail. Outside will be good later on when the grip goes away. Looks like Jimmy Johnson's having a hard time staying up with Kyle, and he can't give him any push.
Look at Jeff Gordon in that 24 car straight to the bottom. He's going to take second away from McMurray. Remember, Jeff Gordon started this race at the very back.
His car was pretty good on new tires when he came in there with about 15 to go in the first 25 lapper. See how this car holds up over the long run here.
McMurray has a run on the outside. Which way will the 88 Dale Jr. go? He goes with McMurray on the high side.
Right now you go with the fastest car, whoever that is.
Casey Kane up top to block.
What do I mean right now? You do that all night. Whichever one's the fastest, that's who you go with.
McMurray slices back down to the bottom, and here comes Junior.
Hey, a guy we hadn't mentioned all night. I see him in that number 55 car. He's making a run here, Michael Waltrip. Riding with him right here down the back straightaway.
Mikey's car will be good in the longer run. His car always seems to work well over the long run.
Look at Carl Edwards in the 99 car bringing his teammate Matt Kenseth to the high side.
See, Larry, that's what I like about this package. You fall back, and then you can work your way right back up there. You got enough acceleration, and you can really work the throttle and make your way back to the front.
Clear by tune here. Watch your spacing.
Krista on the leader.
Well, teammates may definitely come into play. You guys were talking about the Roush cars. Jamie McMurray still out there in front right now. So much confidence. You talked about being repaired with his old, now new, again, crew chief Donnie Wingo, plus the spotter you're hearing so much of, Lauren Rainier. Jamie worked with him back in the day. Before the break, he said his car was just a tick tight off, but the motor is awesome.
Boy, Denny Hamlin just sliced to the bottom of the racetrack and opened a hole that was not there.
There must be more room out there than we think there is. There's just no way you can do that.
Here comes Jeff Gordon. He wants to lead that lap, and he will lead it from last to first in 30 laps.
You don't have to remind Jeff Gordon that he failed to win a race last season.
Uh-oh, 3 wide here. Man, the 18 went right underneath, right on the outside.
Look at them, they're 4 wide up there in turn 1 and 2.
That's when you got new tires on and early in these runs, this is the kind of racing you're going to have. The question is who can maintain this kind of pace.
You clear by 4.
9 different drivers have led this race. That ties the record for the most leaders in a Bud Shootout.
Now what's interesting, Jamie McMurray's spotter keeps warning him about getting out there too front. Any other racetrack, you want to get as much of a lead as you can, but if you get too much of a lead, they get lined up, they will blow by you like you're sitting still.
4 abreast into turn 1.
Uh-oh, Jeff Gordon's in trouble now. Yikes, he made contact with a 16.
Got Greg Biffle in the 16. Nowhere for Jeff Burton in the 31 to go.
And Casey Mears tags Biffle.
Boy, I mean, I knew Gordon was getting mighty close to Biffle there, and they made a little contact and turned him around.
Ruined the front splitter on Biffle's number 16.
I don't think it was that bad.
And Jeff Burton got a piece of it.
Burton's got the worst end of this deal.
3rd caution of the night. Watch the 24 of Jeff Gordon. He's going to get 4 wide and need to find a place to hide, and there just isn't one.
Michael gets in under him, and it pushes him up just a teeny bit, and he makes just enough contact to turn the 16 around.
It doesn't take much at 190 miles per hour.
I don't know how much damage the 48 got. It looks minimum, but he got into the side of Greg Biffle.
Looks like Casey Mears in the 07 got some there at the tail end.
I think the worst of them, though, was the 31 car of Jeff Burton.
Let's have a look from the direct TV blimp.
You can see that car just get that wiggle.
Boy, there's
Kevin Harvick, that's 29.
Some more really good driving to get through some of these accidents without them being worse than they are. Now you see Jeff Gordon, he's getting forced up here. Watch Michael, he's on the 55 car at the bottom. He just gets Jeff where he's got to move up just a little bit, and Biffle's there. And look at all those guys wad up on the outside but make it through.
Let's run this in real time. You see how little reaction time you have. Let's ride with Jimmy Johnson.
I don't think Jimmy got much damage in that. It was pretty soft.
Didn't look like the hood buckled or
No,
anything.
I don't think he got very much damage at all. These cars are really tough on the nose up there. That splitter and that whole nose is pretty durable.
But I definitely think since we're 7 laps into this run, you're going to see a lot of the guys from about mid-pack to the rear come to pit road, get 4 tires, check the damage.
See if they open the pits this time by. They have. Pit road is open.
I think the whole field's going to come.
Well, they are within the fuel window right here. So, yeah, everybody, the only car is going to stay on the racetrack is the pace car.
Krista.
Jamie McMurray, the plan, just 2 tires. That was the call for the 26. Donnie Wingo and Jamie McMurray said his car is a little loose, but really fast.
I believe Kyle Busch took gas only.
Fuel only.
Well, Mike, Tony Stewart said he's getting tight. They're going to make a track bar adjustment and a round out of the left rear. Darian Grubb says pack it full of gas. Matt.
Significant chassis adjustment with both wedge and track bar for Jimmy Johnson. Says the car is not bad, but when it gets to about 4 feet of another car, it just stalls out. Chad Canals looking over that nose. Dick Berggren.
Jeff Gordon, a nice pit stop, took 4 tires back onto the racetrack.
Gordon got blocked in, and then he just couldn't get the car going.
I believe his car's only happy when it has 4 fresh ones on it.
I think everybody's is pretty happy with 4.
Two cars in this pit stop took fuel only in the Budweiser Shootout on Fox, sponsored by DirecTV. Call yourself a sports fan? Get DirecTV. By FedEx Racing, we understand every day's race day. By Subway, home of the famous always made fresh $5 footlong. Subway, eat fresh. And by Toyota, moving forward. The Joe Gibbs Racing teammates, Denny Hamlin, number 11, Kyle Busch, number 18, fuel only. Jamie McMurray, 2 tires only. Everyone else got 4.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting strategy, and we'll see how this plays out. No tires, I don't know about that deal.
Because we got 40 laps to go. We know everybody can make it on fuel from here, but I'm just not sure about the tire situation.
Green flag.
And I've seen this, I mentioned it about Jeff Gordon's car, liking 4 tires. I've seen this with Jeff's car a lot, where he just got to have fresh rubber on the car to be able to run up front like he likes to.
Boy, Denny Hamlin at 11, that car is bouncing all over the racetrack.
Well, Jeff Gordon nailed it. These things are hopping around. What do you think, Hammond? Who made the right call?
Well, it definitely wasn't those guys up front. Anytime you come to a racetrack, especially Daytona, handling is the key. They've still got over 40 laps to run here. I just don't feel like that's a winning move. I know they got the fuel issue out of the way, but the key thing is these cars got uglier and uglier the longer they've run all night long. I think it's going to be the kiss of death by the time this thing's all said and done. You'll be wanting 4 tires if you can get to pit road and get them.
Speaking of kiss of death, Casey Kane in that 9 car last time off turn 4, he kissed the outside wall.
We got a car in trouble down here in turn 2.
Reed Sorensen up in smoke.
Caution will fly.
You mentioned Casey Kane getting into the wall. He and Jeff Gordon may have made contact.
They did. They made a little contact, but I'm not so sure that he hit the wall, that Kane got in the wall. He got mighty close.
Reed Sorensen did. Now watch the 9, the Budweiser car in 2nd place.
Kind of drifts up in front of Jeff.
That's about as close as you can come and not touch it.
The reason I didn't think he hit us because when he went by, he still had the Goodyear written on the side of his tires, so he probably didn't get into it.
And toward the back of the pack, Reed Sorensen in his first race for Richard Petty Motorsports. Comes up short. Now Jeff Burton is out of the race. Here's Dick Berggren.
Well, it looks pretty difficult out there. How difficult is it to hang on to those cars?
They're a handful, but gonna put on a heck of a show. That won't be the last caution. We were, the first segment we made our mind up. There's no sense in, getting in the middle of it, getting a bunch of stuff store up. So we just kind of had a plan with the Cat Chevrolet just to be smart and learn a little bit. We made a few changes in that stop, and I finally got in the line I wanted to get in, and the bottom was going good, and boom, there it went. There it happened. So not the way we wanted to start our association with Caterpillar, but we'll dig again on Thursday.
A wild night tonight at Daytona.
Jeff Burton out of the race in the incident between Jeff Gordon and Greg Biffle. No damage on Casey Kane's car confirmed by our cameras, but Reed Sorensen's done for the night.
The Budweiser Shootout on Fox is sponsored by Budweiser. Reach for the perfect balance of flavor and refreshment. Budweiser, the great American lager. On the Budweiser Shootout with Kyle Busch and his Toyota, the leader. It's a manufacturer's race that had 28 cars to start. Jeff Hammond, we've got 22 remaining. Each of the manufacturers, Ford, Chevy, Dodge, Toyota, have led. Some thoughts here on if Kyle can hang on, given the strategy point.
Again, I think he's got a very fast race car. There's no doubt about that. We know how good he is here at Daytona or any racetrack for that matter. But when it comes to those 4 tires in this handling racetrack and the length that you have to run on them, Chris, I think is a determining factor. If this thing goes green the rest of the way, I just don't think he's going to be able to hang on to it when it counts, and they're going to gang up on him and get around him. I mean, there's too many guys out there. You've already talked about the manufacturers children's race, too many dance partners, and I think it's going to get you in trouble right now. But I think Krista's caught up with the crew chief on that number 18 car. Krista, what's Steve saying?
Yeah, Jeff, what do you think about that call? Fuel only. Let's ask Steve Addington, Kyle Busch's crew chief. Why that decision?
Oh, I figured that everybody would do it just so they could cover themselves to the end of the race, but some of them elected to put tires on. I guess that's my mistake there, but it wasn't. It was just to get us to the end of the race. So I think the way it's going right now, that we'll be back on pit road. I think all of us will if we get us another caution with 15, 20 laps to go. So it might not hurt us too bad. Just get this M&M's Camry out front and see what happens. Try to get it to victory lane.
All right, thanks, Steve. Chris?
All right, Jeff Burton said we're going to see some more cautions.
I think we're going to see some more cautions, but that there's a crew chief who's hoping for a caution.
Well, he's banking on it. Let's go back up to Darrell, Larry, and Mike.
Yeah, I think that's the whole thing about what Steve did. He thinks there's going to be another caution. They'll come down and get their 4 when they need them.
Once again, Saturday night short track style restarts. Leader, front row inside. Second place car, front row outside. That's Dale Earnhardt Jr., Denny Hamlin, Jeff Gordon, row 2. Matt Kenseth, Brian Vickers, row 3. Carl Edwards, Jamie McMurray, Kevin Harvick, Tony Stewart. Your top 10, 22 cars, all on the lead lap as we get set for this restart that will come with 35 laps to go.
As we saw in the first segment, Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car was awfully good on the fresher tires. It was when he got some laps on those tires in that 88, the car started to go backwards.
Full moon Saturday night, and we've had our share of action, haven't we?
That's right. I knew when I saw that full moon, should be interesting tonight.
Jeff Gordon just pushed Dale Jr. into the lead.
Kyle Busch at 18. He has his teammate Denny Hamlin in the 11 behind him. And look at the run they're going to get down this back straightaway.
I'm telling you, you'd love to throw your hand up in there and say, hey, back off a little bit, but you can't let go of the steering wheel long enough to do that. They are bumping and pushing and shoving.
Joe Gibbs Racing on the inside lane, Hendrick Motorsports on the outside in those front 2 rows.
It's the thing that you do with the bump drafting. You get too comfortable with it. You know, you keep knocking a guy, and it keeps working, and pretty soon you overdo it. We saw that's what happened to Carl Edwards last year at Talladega. Just got a little too aggressive.
You can do that little bump draft on the straightaways. It's when you slam bump or do it in the corners what's get you in trouble.
Yeah, a lot of times what happens right at the end of the back straightaway, you'll give a guy a little shot, and it gets him sideways loose, getting in the corner, and he can't control the car.
I tell you one thing, we got one heck of a pusher. I mean to tell you, this thing will push like there's no tomorrow. Pit 4. Well, that's what we have to resort to. We'll do it for the company. If we get out front, they'll have to push us. Yeah, I mean we can't still win it. Just got to push all the way up to the right moment.
And there is a guy that's thinking way ahead.
About 33 laps from now.
That's right. Doesn't mean we can't win it. Don't get the wrong idea here, boys.
That's what he's got on his radar right there, that Daytona 500 Sunday week.
Michael Waltrip has fallen off the pace.
Tired. Yeah, I hit the wall.
Yeah, I could hear something flapping around. I guess it's a tire.
And once again, Kevin Harvick's damaged car has lost the draft. So it's a 20-car train from front to back. Here's what happened to Michael.
See him in the near the front right there. Oh, he gets clipped.
Yes, he just got clipped and hooked.
Oh, he did. It looked like maybe Elliott Sadler got into him. Man, that sent everybody.
I tell you what, that's a lot of damage, but when you have that happen in the middle of back straightaway, he's actually pretty lucky right now.
44 laps complete this time by. Check with Steve.
Mike, just listened to Tony Stewart, and he told Darian Grubb, he said, I've got a vibration. The gauges all look okay, but it feels like a harmonic vibration.
We just heard that a lot down here the last couple of days. Cars will pick up a vibration on it. Maybe it's, what do you think it is, Larry?
Well, Darrell, we've heard these guys talk about how they've worked so hard to get everything running free in the drive line, and you just wonder if that might be promoting this vibration through the drive line.
Yeah, that, or sometimes the headers. You know, the tailpipes. Engine will go through a certain range, and sometimes it'll make the car vibrate a little bit in the driver's seat anyway.
Hey, what, we got those Roush Fenway cars ganging up on the high side. Matt Kenseth in that 17, Carl Edwards in the 99, and McMurray in the 26.
Well, they have 5 cars. Roush had 5 cars in the race. I figured if we're going to see teamwork, now's when we're going to start to see it.
Michael Waltrip's taking his car to the garage as Dale Earnhardt Jr. tries to hold off the Roushketeers coming at him on the high side.
Yeah, he has lost his pusher, Jeff Gordon, in the 24. He's fallen back to about 8th.
A little car that's hanging in there pretty well, too, is a Toyota Brian Vickers. He's got a good little run going.
Little tape on the nose of Jeff Gordon's car. That was because of the bump he had with Greg Biffle.
Yeah, maybe, or, you know, they were working on the front of that car trying to get a little bit more downforce. They could have taped up something under there or maybe added a little bit of tape.
Darrell, they're starting to gang up on Denny Hamlin in this 11 car. You can see him on the bottom right there, and you just wonder now, is this a product of those almost 25 lap tires that he has on there?
Oh, I definitely think so, Larry. And I think Jeff Hammond hit it on the nail on the head when he said, there's a crew chief hoping they get another caution.
Hamlin is back to 12th, Kyle Busch to 6th after restarting 1-2. Jimmy Johnson right in the middle of things, Matt.
Chad Knash used the last caution, Mike, to utilize a chance to fix a broken brace on the front splitter. Jimmy also commented the car is very drivable. His biggest issue, he has to have someone push him to work his way to the front.
I know somebody, the 24.
His teammate, Jeff Gordon.
He said he was a good pusher.
There they are, lined up behind Brian Vickers. Now, right behind Jeff Gordon is Kurt Busch. Steve?
Mike, he's one of the few guys I've heard tonight say, wow, this baby is handling. He is fighting back from a pit road mishap. They had a lug nut fall off the left rear wheel, but he is liking that race car tonight.
Busch in the Blue Deuce, runner-up in last year's Daytona 500 to his then teammate Ryan Newman.
He was one of the few guys that I heard in those 2 practices yesterday afternoon and last night that was happy. But yeah, he's definitely working his way back after that problem he had on lap 33.
Probably the restrictor plate races are some of their strongest races for the 2-car and for the Penske operation. Whoa, Vickers got a little shove there. Man.
That was a toss and catch it for the 83.
She was pogoing on him.
And Steve Burns just talked about Kurt Busch in that 2 car. Went to the high side of Jeff Gordon. They've got Jeff trapped in the middle.
Boy, sometimes that middle is so helpless sometimes. They're going by you on both sides and there's nothing you can do about it. Try to squeeze in, but you know you got to be really careful. Like right there, you'd like to be able to push over in front of the 9, but you just can't quite make it.
This will send Gordon back into the second 10 of the 20 cars in this draft.
Here, those guys just really get out of the throttle.
Riding with Bobby Labonte there.
And that becomes part of the art of a restrictor plate car and restrictor plate racing, is how to work that throttle, keep the momentum up, but get the car to where it'll stay down on the bottom of the racetrack like you want it to.
Matt Kenseth for the lead.
With help from his Roush Fenway teammates, they're lined up 1, 2, 3.
Boy, look at that.
Buddy's inside. Just hold your line here. Jamie's back with you now. You 3 up top. They got a line on the bottom.
You 3 up top, you teammates, the rest of the field down low.
Another guy's creeped back in there, Larry, is a 14 car, Tony Stewart. All of a sudden, he's got his nose stuck in there again.
We talked about Denny Hamlin starting to fade in that 11 car, but his other teammate, Kyle Busch, in that 18, out there with no fresh tires, he just will not give up.
Kyle Busch up to second behind Dale Jr.
He likes a bad handling car. As a matter of fact, I think he'd get mad if it handled really good. He wouldn't have anything to do.
Now 25 down in this segment, 25 to go.
You know that old saying that the cream seems to always rise to the top? Would you not say that the cream is rising?
Oh, very nicely.
I believe it's there.
Led by Dale Earnhardt Jr., a two-time winner of this race. Kyle Busch making his third appearance. Never finished better than 7th. That 18 cars.
The 48 on the bottom behind the 18. 14.
Right now with Tony Stewart third.
You better not be loose in when you get one of those big pushes from behind like Tony just got, because you won't be able to catch it if you do.
And what's happened with the outside line? That's not working as well as we thought it might a little later on here.
I think they're able to keep fresh enough tires on the car that they can run the bottom, plus the temperature being as cool as it is. I think there's enough grip down there that the car is able to stick pretty well. Normally that high groove is an out of control, loose, can't hang on to it groove.
If you remember riding with Jimmy Johnson, we heard him and Chad Knaus talking right after the break about you want to keep it on the bottom.
Wait till next Sunday when 43 of them line up for the Daytona 500 on Fox.
And that change in the pitch of the engine is not the driver letting off the throttle. That's the car going through the oscillation through the bumps in the racetrack.
How about that second place car, Krista?
Well, leave it to Kyle Busch. He got on the radio and said, can everybody make it to the end? Steve Addington said yes. He said, don't get to the party too early, Kyle, unless you want to.
Yeah, I think we're pretty comfortable with a couple of cautions we've had. Everybody has pitted at least once in this segment that they can make it to the end on fuel.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to become the first driver to win back-to-back Bud Shootouts since Tony Stewart in 2001 and 2.
I just think the problem that Kyle's going to have as we go down to the end of this race is the maneuverability of the car. I think.
Well, we got trouble.
Looks like he just got around all by himself.
It looks like he took the nose off for Rudiman's car going by.
Nice save, man. Real nice save. Real nice save. We'll bring it to you, Kevin. Bringing it to you.
What do you think the 18 car will do now, Bud?
I think the 18 and all of his buddies out there will hit pit road.
I think you're right.
But because this is exactly what Steve Addington, his crew chief, said with about 15 or 20 laps to go. Just got tapped from the back from David Stremme in that 12 car. Did you see how that car lifted up and the roof flaps deployed and the car just set right back down?
You know what happened, Larry? I think that the 19 got just a little wee bit loose, maybe had to get up out of the throttle, and that's how come Stremme got into him.
Right. Watch the gap between Sadler and the car in front of him. We won't see it from this angle open up. This is the Verizon onboard camera for Stremme. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, see, Stremme had to start playing with the throttle, and I don't know what happened to Elliott's car, but it just got a little bit loose. Looked like he had to lift up a tad, and when he did, Stremme got into the back of him.
Let's have a look at it from the DirecTV blimp. Toward the back of the pack. Yeah, big gap opens, Sadler loose.
Yeah, he just gets a little bit loose for some reason. I don't know if it's because Stremme was up close to him, but that's what got him spun out.
But Stremme got into the back of Elliott Sadler, and David Rudiman is the victim.
and Darrell, you've talked about it before. Yeah, there's no question. It's hairy when you're up there in the 31 degrees of banking the corners, but this tri-oval, That's a fast part of the racetrack.
The cars can be they're a bigger handful right through here. You're running just as fast as you are down the back straight with 190 miles an hour with not near the banking that you got up in the middle of the corner. And here's something I didn't know. You know why these banks are 33 degrees?
Why is that?
Because that's as high as they could stack the dirt without it sliding back down.
And get the pavement to adhere.
Yeah. And
set.
I mean, if Bill Sr. would have made it 48 degrees,
wow,
if he could have stacked the dirt that high.
We got our own dirt stacker.
We did.
He lives in the infield at Talladega and comes out for special events. Digger. We have tied the record for cautions in the Budweiser Shootout since they went to the 70-lap format. We have 20 to go to get to 75 tonight.
Well, I think there's going to be a lot on the shoulders of these pit crews right now. You can't have any mistakes like the 2 car with Kurt Busch had the last time he was on pit road, and here they all come.
Yeah.
Let's start with Krista.
Here comes Kyle Busch. Steve Addington said, what do you need? Kyle said, I feel like the balance is okay, but I need more grip. I'm starting to bottom out. I have to crank the wheel, and that makes me loose. The call is 4 tires for Kyle. Steve.
Tony Stewart says he's still too tight. 1 round out of the left rear. They've also made an air pressure adjustment. Matt.
Progress continues for Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car. A little close to the wall. Just clears the jack handle. Slight chassis adjustment to tighten him up, Dick.
Jeff Gordon has given up the 8th position to come in and get 4 tires, which he hopes will resolve the problem of the car being too tight and pushing. And he tries to get out in a gaggle of cars on pit road.
Pit road just wasn't wide enough for everybody who wanted to get there.
A mess.
I think the 18 did get hit by the 48 car. I believe they made some contact.
There's 3 wide coming. I mean, we can't just sit in our box. I'm sorry, but that's what we have to do.
Well, here's how it turned out. As we clean up from the 5th caution of the night.
Hey, down in the grass, they're 4 wide on pit road.
Little contact there. Hey, there's a lot of money at stake here tonight. You got to go.
Who said you couldn't go 4 wide?
Watch this race off pit road. Kyle Busch racing Carl Edwards on the outside. Here comes Brian Vickers out from his pit stall. Right out in front of them, Jimmy Johnson, Dale Jr. come out, and then Tony Stewart and Jeff Gordon almost got in it.
It's like trying to put too much water in a funnel. They ran out of it. It wouldn't all go down at once.
Well, Darrell, imagine the easiest place to pass is on pit road. And here we go, back to green. 17 laps to go.
And everybody has 4 fresh tires.
So this should get really interesting.
Yes, it should.
Yeah, handling will not be a real big issue on this run. This is going to be more about who's got the best car now, who's got the most horsepower, track position, not making a wrong move, picking your partner to go dancing with.
Kyle Busch, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Carl Edwards are the 3 cars lined up on the bottom, up front.
Now Brian Vickers in the 83 had a run on the high side, and Jimmy Johnson in the 48 jumped up there.
Up there. There we go. Stay right there with them.
So now it's Gordon, Stewart, and McMurray trying to bring the inside lane to the front.
This is when you pull your gloves all the way up over your elbows, boys.
Here comes Johnson in the 48 car hunting his teammate Dale Earnhardt Jr. and there's Jeff Gordon in the 24 fighting his way back.
Gordon looks for the middle and Kyle Busch picks him up as a drafting partner.
Well, Kyle was trying to do a little side draft in there. I think he was trying to get a little suck into the corner to try to get ahead of Jimmy Johnson. Picked up Jeff Gordon. Think it's going to work.
15 to go when they come to the stripe.
They have kicked Carl Edwards in the 99 car all the way back almost outside the top 10. You see him fighting his way back on the bottom.
Yeah, once you get back in this mad pack back here, all the wind buffing around, it's hard to do much.
But what I like, Darrell, is you can get to the front. A car in the middle of that pack. We've seen it so many times tonight. You can get back to the lead and have a chance to lead this and maybe win it.
If you time it right, you go back and then you time it right, get them methodically and work your way up there where when the white flag comes out, you're coming and not going, you got a shot.
Hendrick cars first, second, and fourth now as Jeff Gordon forges out front, and Kyle Busch gave Dale Jr. a shot trying to move him forward in the tri-oval.
Hendrick cars 1, 2, 3 as they head off into turn 1.
It's almost like no matter what. Look at Dale Earnhardt Jr. got shot up the racetrack in the 88, almost got into Gordon.
That's what he was complaining about, Larry. A little loose in, and that car really got loose on him getting in the corner then.
And that will scatter the field. Jimmy Johnson pulls to the front.
But it's like no matter what, the bottom line can fight its way back easier, no matter what happens down there.
Well, look at Jeff Gordon.
There he goes.
All the way back into the second 10.
He's going to be looking for Carl Edwards. Hey, Carl, I'm a good pusher. Whoa, he's going to get squeezed right there.
So Jimmy Johnson becomes the 12th different leader of this race.
Comes at 18, fighting back on the bottom. Got smoke right behind him. They look like they want to work together. There's that Vickers car, 83, the Red Bull car. It's right up there in the thick of this thing. Has been all night. Whoa. Tony sent Kyle down into the grass.
And once again, that double yellow line going below it is out of bounds, but only a penalty if you advance your position. Kyle Busch did not gain a position being down there. He got forced down there.
Jamie McMurray has now picked up the second spot. Behind Jimmy Johnson, Brian Vickers to third, and Denny Hamlin, the 06 winner, up to fourth in the 11.
But Darrell, you mentioned him, Brian Vickers in that Toyota, the 83 car. Look at him fighting his way down to the bottom. Jimmy Johnson in the 48. He's going to take the lead.
I'm looking for big things out of that 83 car this year. I believe they are poised to have a great run, and they're doing it right now.
And Kyle Busch left the bottom open for Jamie McMurray, and Busch backing up.
With the 11 pushed to 48 here.
There comes those Fords on the bottom. McMurray in the 26 and Edwards in the 99 fighting their way back.
You just get so frustrated because you're up there, you make the wrong move.
Troubles.
Oh, big
Menard and
Dale Earnhardt Jr.
And Biffle.
Right there. Keep digging there. You got one spot in the grass. Keep digging.
88's torn up big time.
And Bobby Labonte against the wall.
Bobby Labonte's car crashed to 16 for the second time.
You know, Darrell, these last 3 laps, things were getting racier. The moves were getting a little bolder. The cars sliding a little more. And contact.
Yeah, Mike, you just feel the intensity. You know, as it gets down here with just a few laps to go, you stop giving and start taking, and this is what happens.
Dale Jr. is going to have to take that car to the garage. Bobby Labonte's car torn up in his first race in a Ford for Yates Racing. Greg Biffle also involved, and the 98 of Menard, the pole sitter.
See what happens back here to start this melee.
Where you see them 3 wide, 3 deep.
On the 98's getting a little loose already. He's fishtailing.
Right in front of his teammate Bobby Labonte.
He gets Bobby Labonte, and that turns him. And
but Biffle also goes around.
I'm not sure
front of them.
I'm not. You don't reckon that Biffle slowed down because of the hollered there's a caution, do you? Because he looked funny that he would gotten in. He was ahead of it.
There wouldn't have been a caution yet. Watch Biffle up on the high side, number 16 behind Kenseth. He got hit, I believe.
Oh yeah, he
One
did.
of the black cars.
Yeah, he came. Somebody got
into
him a little
Biffle.
bit. Not much, but a little bit.
I'm not sure how many wrecks Kevin Harvick has dodged, but it's a bunch tonight in that 29 car.
And Junior's car got all torn up there.
Yeah, he got clipped in the right rear and turned into the fence.
Oh, there.
Yeah.
With Bobby Labonte. Brian Vickers will pit. And he'll be joined by Denny Hamlin, Jeff Gordon, and Kevin Harvick on pit road. As cleanup continues.
Now they have less than 10 laps on those tires. And we've got 10 laps to go right now.
That's one of those things that'll make me go,
When we restart, here's Dick.
Well, Jeff Gordon in, might as well take 4, Mike. He had slid well to the back of the pack, get 4 fresh tires and go for it, see what you can do.
Well, you're going to restart no better than 15th if the rest of the cars stay on track.
But I think we've just seen this car all night. It runs really fast for a few laps, and then it
Here we go, buddy.
fades.
We're freed up. We'll put the fuel in it to give you some speed.
However,
I don't think we lost anything. Maybe 2 spots. Let's get you 4 tires on it.
When you restart 15th, that's the inside of the 8th row. It's not 15th back in line.
Well, it is. I totally understand the 29 car and the 24 car coming because they were back in the pack. The one that I'm just not sure about is Brian Vickers in the 83 car.
From Bobby Labonte, one more pileup. We're getting ready for the restart in the Budweiser Shootout on Fox. Aerial coverage of the Budweiser Shootout is brought to you by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you've got to get DirecTV. All right, Brian Vickers gave up the lead to come to pit road on this caution. Matt?
Mike, we said the final 50 laps would be a chess match of strategy. Ryan Pemberton, why did you bring your car to pit road?
Well, I think that the tires are going away pretty quick. That was only a 7-lap run, and you know there was another wreck already because about 7 or 8 laps they started handling bad. The small field, I think we're about 12th right now with fresh tires. I saw Jimmy Johnson pit a little while ago when everybody only had 1 lap on their tires. And he was running 3rd within 2 laps. So, you know, I'd like to be leading with the fresh tires, but I think we're okay right now.
And that's a comment Dale Earnhardt Jr. said. Tires are big.
Yeah, it's just those cars in front of him have fairly fresh tires, and we're only going to have a handful of laps to go, maybe about 8 laps to go. But if he picks the right line at the right place, it may pay off for him because he'll definitely be able to maneuver it.
3 cars knocked out in this crash. One of those drivers with Krista.
Well, Dale Earnhardt Jr. will not be defending his Bud Shootout win from last year. Junior, your car looks a little bit like a sardine can. What happened out there?
Well, I was real loose getting into one, and me and Kyle were drafting on the inside, and he gave me a real good run back into the lead, and I just lost the right rear and got up into Jeff a little bit and kind of got shuffled through the middle on the back, and I was just trying to regroup back there and figure out what to do. I knew there was going to be a wreck, and I didn't think I'd be able to get through the pack before it started happening, and we didn't. So my team did a good job. You know, the car was good. It was just too loose, and on the long run, we were real good on new tires. You know, we drive right up to them. And I want to thank my sponsors, National Guard, Amp Energy. And we'll try, see, hopefully, we got a good car. We got a good little package, and we learned a little bit. Hopefully, we can take what we learned to the 500 car.
Thanks, Dale.
16 cars on the lead lap. Paul Menard returns to the event after being involved. And Greg Biffle is also back on the racetrack. That means Bobby Labonte and Dale Earnhardt Jr. go to the garage.
Yeah, and you know, Mike, there's no question that this is a big advantage for the 28 people that got to run this race tonight. With the no testing all winter long here or most anywhere else, getting that time on the racetrack, they can really make some good adjustments for their 500 cars.
So 2 by 2 on the restart. It's Jamie McMurray versus Jimmy Johnson on the front row. Carl Edwards lined up behind McMurray. Kyle Busch back of Johnson. Allmendinger, Kenseth, Stewart, Kane, Stremme and Mears are the top 10 as the pace car peels off, and we have 7 laps to settle this.
And the moon is still full.
Yeah, and 4 tires are golden. We'll find out just how golden on that 83, and hopefully there won't be a full moon next Sunday. Full moons don't last that long, do they?
McMurray breaks out.
Yeah, but see, that's not a good idea. Feels good.
So you
get out there like that, you just get the whole field running up on you like the 48 over there is.
Keep an eye on Vickers, first of those cars with fresh tires. Can he bust his way up through the field? There he is, right in the middle.
Well, he can go middle, see, with 4 fresh tires. That's one thing he could be able to do is go through the middle.
Oh, McMurray sliding right up in front of Jimmy Johnson, but holding the lead.
6 laps to go.
Is McMurray in the right position, Darrell?
Well, he's been a fast car all night long, and I tell you, if Jimmy Johnson wants to work with him, I think he is. I mean, when it gets to this point, you just want to line up and stay in line until they get to the white flag now. And hopefully that, like the 48 and 18, now here comes the 17, somebody will work with you on that last lap.
But I'm going to tell you what, Jimmy Johnson yanked it to the bottom in front of Matt Kenseth in the 17. McMurray yanked it to the bottom in front of Jimmy Johnson.
Whoa.
Johnson gets sideways off 4.
Here they come.
And he lost his momentum, and Matt Kenseth takes advantage.
They're going to kick him to the high side. 5 laps to go.
Now the question is, will the teammates work together?
And how about that 29 car, Kevin Harvick up there behind Jimmy Johnson? He lost the draft twice, and here he's back up there.
Where's the 83?
Back about 8th.
Yeah, but where is he? I see him looking underneath the 48. No, that's the 07 we're looking under there.
It's mirrors. Johnson's car moves so violently, he might have been bumped by Kenseth.
I think it was that getting loose, getting in the corner thing, really.
Well, it's a manufacturer's showdown, and all 4 manufacturers have a car in the top 5.
I tell you, they got their hands full to get around that 26 car McMurray. That thing is honking, baby.
And his teammate Matt Kenseth, those 2 Fords will stay locked together.
But I guarantee you that cat behind them will stay locked together. Kyle Busch in that 18.
Here comes that 29 car. This is like the 500. Where did he come from? 500 2 years ago when he slipped by Mark Martin on the last lap.
Well, he's going to move in the second right now, and he's got Jeff Gordon. Jeff Gordon commented how much his car will push a car. He's pushed Kevin Harvick right up there in the second. They'll be coming to 3 laps to go.
Tell you, that 29 car just drove off and left the Jeff Gordon car.
Oh, Kenseth.
Yikes.
Had Kyle Busch get in the back of him, and that moved Matt up the racetrack and out of 4th place.
Yee-hoo.
There's Brian Vickers in that 83 car. I just don't think time is going to allow him to get back to the front or back to the lead with those 4 fresh tires.
So if 2 Fords work together at the front, can they be toppled? Well, Kyle Busch moved Matt Kenseth out of the way, and here comes Jeff Gordon on the outside, 24, Kevin Harvick, and Jimmy Johnson against the 1 Ford of McMurray in front.
It all depends. Can McMurray block these guys for about 2.5 more laps?
He can't.
There he goes, Jeff Gordon.
Stay with it, though. You got help coming.
Jeff Gordon just hit the afterburner. And here comes a 48. He's going to be high, wide, and handsome.
He got
with the 18 right with him.
Got a bump from Kyle Busch. Put him right up behind McMurray again.
Boy, this is a real high-speed chess match right here. Which way do we go? Which way do we go?
Biffle on the wall.
Again.
Biffle, one more time.
With 2 to go. Caution is out, and we will go to overdrive.
Dadgum. That 12 car and the 16 car, I think, what is that, the 3rd wreck they've been in tonight?
That's
it is the
3rd
7th
caution that Greg Biffle has been involved in.
Yep, 7th caution tonight. And it's the 3rd caution for Stremme as well. Watch the 12 and the 16 back to the pack.
The 12 just gets this pushing up the hill, and he gets into Biffle. So I'm telling you, sometimes you got the wheels turning, the thing just will not stop. It just keeps going up the hill.
Watch from our Verizon wireless onboard on Stremme's Penske machine.
Clear low, outside.
Did you hear him? I mean, he lets off, but it doesn't do any good at all. It just keeps on washing up the track.
But Darrell, my question is, did the wreck at the back of the pack save us from the pileup at the front of the pack with 2 to go?
I'm thinking you might be right, but I don't think the race, it's not over with yet.
Oh, no. Matt Kenseth has a flat and is coming in for service. Now we'll go to overdrive, which is NASCAR's version of extra innings. We'll have 1 attempt at a green flag, followed by a white flag lap, and then a checkered flag finish. We get 1 attempt at that. If the caution has to come out again, the field is frozen, race is over.
I would expect no less on a Saturday night race like this.
Here's Steve.
Mike, Tony Stewart said, I've got to come in and get tires. It's the only shot I have. If I'm going to make a move up through the middle, let's go ahead and take tires. Dick.
Well, Matt Kenseth has had quite the up and down night. He's led this thing, and now at the very end of the race, flat tire had to come in pit. He's taken 4 at the end of the race.
Stewart was running 13th at the time of caution. Kenseth was 12th.
Yeah, no brainer for those guys to come in. We knew probably the top 7, 8, 9 guys were going to stay out, but these guys had nothing to lose.
Carl Edwards was 14th.
And what that allows them to do is if there is an opening anywhere, in the middle, outside, high, wherever, they'll have the grip to go there.
But with these cars in the back on fresh tires and just 2 laps to go, it also raises the possibility of too many cars fitting in too small a space when they come down for the flag.
Well, this is where McMurray's going to have to be careful on the restart, because if he jumps out like he did earlier, I'll tell you, he's a set and duck if he gets out there too far. And you got the 24 back there and the 48, they'll get hooked up together and they'll blow right by him.
And McMurray on point here has no friends. The next Ford in the field is Kenseth back at 11th.
You know what's going to be interesting though with this double file restart is under normal,
like you had last time.
Under normal race rules, the 24 and the 48 would start nose to tail, but because of the double file restart, the 48 is actually going to restart behind that 26 car. And Kevin Harvick in the 29 will restart behind Jeff Gordon.
Well, Jeff and Chris, we're getting down to it. 2 to go.
Yeah, Jeff, you were reacting to what Larry was just saying down here.
Right. I mean, what I'm seeing is, and he's exactly right, Gordon and Johnson are not going to probably going to hook up real easy. But remember one other thing. This is a manufacturer's race. What is Kevin Harvick? He's a Chevrolet. What is Jeff Gordon? He's a Chevrolet. So look for these 2 guys to kind of work together. And if Jimmy can get involved, I'm sure he will. But the main thing is these Chevrolets do not want that Ford to win this race.
They have time and overdrive.
They've got time and overdrive to get it done.
All right, we've already had a number of record of leaders, lead changes, and cautions, Mike. So we're about ready to wrap things up.
2 laps to go, 1 attempt. They'll see the green flag. Next time around, they'll see the white flag, and if they get back around again, they'll see the checker. If not, if a caution should come out, the race is over.
I think poor Jamie McMurray, he's pretty much, he's doomed. If the 48 and the 24 get together, they're going to get after him. If the 48 and the 29 or the 24 and the 29, like you said, he doesn't have a lot of help up there.
So Darrell, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's how the 26 times the restart.
Exactly.
If he times the restart, I like that 26 car.
I think
Rick Hendrick has 2 of the front 4 cars.
What Jimmy Johnson would like to be able to do is time the restart right and get up along beside of the 26 car McMurray going down to turn 1 and clear him and come up with Jeff Gordon right behind him.
2 laps to go, 1 chance at it. Who do you like?
I'll tell you right now, I like Jeff Gordon.
I like McMurray, 26.
I like Harvick. He was the fastest car on the track getting up to the front after hanging out back for most of the race.
Haven't seen him enough tonight to know whether he's how good he is or not, because he just showed up there all at once.
Joplin, Missouri's Jamie McMurray for Roush Fenway Racing in a Ford opposite Jeff Gordon, who well knows the way to victory lane here. He's a 2-time winner of the shootout. Pace car about to make that sharp left turn and will try for green-white checker.
5 miles.
Hold your breath. Green flag.
McMurray didn't get that great of a restart.
But he keeps getting that push from Jimmy Johnson in that 48 car. And there's Harvick jumps down to the low side as well.
But the 48 lost its momentum. McMurray gets away just a little bit.
The most important person on Jamie McMurray's team right now, besides McMurray, is that spotter on top of the grandstand.
I tell you what, that Ford, that 26, though, it hustles when it gets on that straightaway. Boy, Jeff Gordon just gave him a big shot.
Stay with it, stay with it.
He can't open the bottom, Jamie. You can't open the bottom. He's going to get back down there now.
Jeff Gordon really gave the 11 a big shot. And when
Harvick gets the 11. We're okay.
Hang
White
on,
flag.
Boys. Hang on, boys.
White flag. Kyle Busch was pushed down, gets back up above the yellow line. McMurray 1 lap away.
I know that lead looks good, but as long as they don't get a run on him.
And here they come.
If they can stay 2 or 3 wide behind him, he can work both sides of the street.
Look at him, 4 wide going through turn 2.
Go high, go low, go high, go low. Just look for somebody that's coming. And
about 3.
I tell you, he's got a perfect scenario right here. They can't get lined up to get to
Watch
him.
your mirror, 29 coming to
McMurray,
you.
Harvick. Harvick has help on the outside.
Here comes the 29. Just like, oh no.
Johnson into the wall with Mears and Hamlin.
That's it.
It's
Caution
over.
is out. So Harvick has won this race.
I tell you, that is just like he did 2 years ago here.
The field is frozen at the moment of caution.
And Kevin Harvick, who has never finished better than 3rd in this race, in his 5th appearance, will win the Budweiser.
I'm telling you, I couldn't have told you. I would have not known how he could do that because he hadn't been there all night, really.
But he started 23rd. He lost the draft twice and had damage.
Watch him just squirt like a hot dog out of a bun between those 2 cars. Got a little push there from Hamlin. And it all folds up behind him.
We knew Jamie McMurray was pretty much a setting duck. He tried to block right there, Jamie did, but he could only go so far.
That run right there is a mirror of what happened 2 years ago in the Daytona 500.
Exactly. And they were wrecking behind him then.
And Jeff Gordon, watch the 24, misses another one. Wow.
Man, oh man, that was close again. Jeff's right. He needs an in-car camera tonight.
Wish he had one.
Who, the 07?
Yep.
Did Gordon get into the 07 and get him sideways and get him into the 48?
To me, it looked like the first contact was between Mears and Johnson, the 07 and the 48. But we'll have some time to sort it out here as Kevin Harvick will drive his Richard Childress Racing Chevrolet to victory lane.
That's why you don't ever give up right there, ladies and gentlemen.
Kevin Harvick brushed the wall early. You see the damage on the right side of his car. Hung out in the back for much of the race, and now he has raced his way all the way to victory lane. Matt Yoakum.
The last time the Shell Pennzoil team went to victory lane was the All-Star race back in May of 2007. Before that, the Daytona 500. Perseverance really paid off tonight for you and this team.
Well, the first thing I want to do is thank all the fans, man. If you don't enjoy that, that was some wild racing. I got to thank Sprint, Shell, Pennzoil, Coca-Cola, Ream. Let me make sure I hadn't done this in a while. SKF Freightliner champion, Snap-on, everybody for helping us, and once again the fans. Just everybody is just awesome, and what a race, man. That was wild as heck there at the end.
Well, Kevin Harvick takes home the big money. What a way to start Speed Weeks 2009.
Big hug from his wife, Delana, and the rest of the team gathering in. Darrell, what a way to start off DirecTV Speedway.
You know what I love? You just come down here and you bend a fender on your car and you're doomed, man. That's it. You're out of the race. Now they bounce off each other. They bounce off the wall. And look at that thing. Looks like they've been running at Martinsville.
But what I love is the fact that in a 75-lap race, we had 15 different leaders with 23 lead changes. I think that's just a sneak preview for what we'll see in the Daytona 500.
Heck yeah, that pays $1.5 million to win. Tonight's $200,000. Wow.
I don't feel too bad for Jamie McMurray. He finished second, and that 4-tire change for Tony Stewart got him up to third. Well done. Steve?
Well, Jamie, tell us about that shootout. That was some wild racing tonight.
Well, it was. I moved up and blocked the 24 and the 48, and when I moved up to block them, I was just waiting, to get wrecked. And when Kevin got the run on my outside, I moved up, and I thought I was far enough up that he couldn't fit between me and the wall. And when the guy's coming that he's going to dart back to the inside if he can't go to the outside. And I was trying to make my car as wide as possible. But good night for the Crown Royal car. Donnie Wingo's first race. I really excited.
It's fun to watch, Jamie. Let's go to Krista.
All right, we're with Jimmy Johnson. Of course, this race is the one that's all about the fun. Sunday, the 500, that's the one that's all about the daydreams. Everyone dreams about that. What did you learn for the 500?
There was a lot that we learned tonight. It's nice to be back in the cars. That intermission, we were able to try some stuff. So I think all the teams that were in this race certainly benefited from that. Granted, the track's going to change a lot and get much slicker as the week wears on. But tonight was a good night for the Lowe's and Bala. Unfortunately, it's steaming and torn up behind you, but we had a lot of fun tonight.
He hopes to be celebrating on Sunday. Dick Berggren.
Tony Stewart finishes third with his brand new team. Satisfied with that?
Yeah, I'll take that for a debut night. So wasn't the prettiest third place, but we were in the right spot at the right time finally. So we know what we need to work on this week for the 500, and we got a good start though.
Good for you. Chris Myers.
Thanks, Dick Berggren and Jeff Hammond. What did we learn tonight about a week from tomorrow in the Daytona 500? Junior said we're gonna take some things from this experience. Happy Harvick, 71 races since his last Cup win, of course, an All-Star win, and this a Budweiser Shootout win at Daytona.
Well, as always, it's going to wind up being positioning and handling. We saw tonight how important tires were. You come in at the right time, get the right tires, right position. You got an excellent chance to win. And the main thing is, I think Darrell and Larry were talking about it. The way I looked at it, these hounds, I mean, they were running over top of each other for the hamburger they were going after tonight. Well, next week it's for filet mignon. So it's going to be a wild 500-mile race next weekend.
All right, filet mignon. I like mine well done, by the way. We started with 28 cars, the most ever in the Budweiser Shootout. We finished with 13. Tomorrow, the action continues here from Daytona on Fox, 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 Pacific, qualifying for the front row position, battling for the Great American Race.
Yeah, you don't want to miss that because, again, it sets the stage for this 500 as well as everything else that goes on the remainder of Speed Weeks. But, I mean, tonight, hey, what a way to kick it off.
14 leaders, 23 different lead changes, and 8 cautions, all Budweiser Shootout records. Next on Fox, late local news, except on the West Coast. And again, a week from tomorrow, 2 o'clock Eastern, the running of the Daytona 500 and the Great American Race. Promotional considerations provided by So Kevin Harvick and wife Delana in the top 40 of NASCAR's most beautiful people, and he was beautiful tonight, pulling into victory lane, winning the lengthiest and the most crowded ever Budweiser Shootout. Dale Earnhardt Jr. led 24 laps. Carl Edwards led 11, but in the end, Kevin Harvick for Jeff Hammond, for Dirk Bentley, for Bentley Elliott. I'm Chris Myers. Thanks for tuning in for NASCAR on Fox. Have a great weekend.